Hello, everyone. Or at least whoever is willing to come in for now. But welcome. So, let's just go through a bit of what I have in mind for today. So, the goal here for today is to just work on some OC work, at least at the start. But at the end of the stream today, I plan on announcing the winner of my 300 follower giveaway for, well, reaching 300 followers on Blue Sky. Again, I really do appreciate y'all for helping me get to that milestone. But, aside from that, that's basically all I have in mind today. But first things first, I actually wanted to discuss something with y'all. I actually wanted to discuss a bit about, why I actually create what I do. And, well, it's a bit hard to grasp onto just one thing when it comes to it. But in terms of, like, my core ethos when it comes to creating, I really just want to send a message with my work, more than anything. I feel like when I draw something, it's when I connect or have an outlet to connect with people. Like, that's one of my healthiest ways to express the ways that I'm feeling or certain ideas or concepts that I feel super strongly about. And I feel like there's not much better I can do in terms of expressing myself in that way. And it's why I care so deeply about getting better with my work, too. Because if I do get better with my work, it means I'm better at conveying a message. Whether that's through simple illustrations, writing stories, or even stuff like 3D modeling, game development, or even animations. It's all from storytelling. But that kind of puts into perspective the direction that I've been putting my work. Lately, I've felt that, especially with a lot of my original characters, I've been a bit aimless with them, just drawing them in either pinups or miscellaneous situations. Never anything concrete or definitive. From here, because of this line of thought, I actually do want to think about how I go about my work a little differently. Largely because I want to get better at conveying that core message, or that core question or argument. And I think the best way to do that is to focus less on simple, isolated concepts, and more about building out character themes on the whole. So that probably means that a lot of characters are either going to be reworked or scrapped entirely from my part. That's not to say that I don't like those characters or hold them in a special place, but I feel like that's necessary if you want to make a good story. Sometimes you gotta kill your darlings. Darlings. Ugh. I can't talk. But yeah, that's it for the out session for today. But let's get started with what exactly I have in mind to draw. Subview. Ayame, thanks for the follow. I really appreciate it. just been chilling so far. Slow start, unfortunately. Because, had to clean house on my end as well as actually bumping this for in as many outlets as I can. But yeah, it's good to see ya. Let me just pull up a ref real quick. Hopefully you've been doing well. I know I've been a bit of a ghost on your part, but I've seen you bump in my work whenever I post it, and I really do appreciate it. This'll do. Okay, that should do for the ref. Oh, I feel you so much, Ayane. Executive dysfunction gets the better of me all the time, and it's the worst. But when I do, I really do just have a tendency to lock in, and it's nice to see something actually come to fruition, especially if it's an idea that's been stewing in your head for a while, which is a tendency that tends to that happens to me a lot. Let's just get the gesture down first. It doesn't have to be perfect. Shoulders are about here, and there's the back. The torso is about here, or the waist is about here. And that means it says about this profile. The 2 a.m. part especially is frustrating. Like, I get those bursts of inspiration at the worst opportune times. It's so frustrating. The arm is about. That means the rib cage ends about here. Also, hi, Sunny. Good to see ya. Welcome in. Actually, I probably should throw on some music. Don't like have it. Probably wouldn't want y'all sticking around in dead silence. I even have a chill playlist to actually go off of. There we go. Pain. It's just when you feel like you have a good idea and then you just lose it. Nothing wrong with the little Mario Galaxy, don't y'all think? Oh, also, I also wanted to talk about potentially learning 3D art finally. Ferality Somna is going to be coming up real soon, and by that time, I actually wanted to have my own avatar for it. So I figured that now would be as good of a time as ever to use that as an excuse to not just learn Blender and the VRChat SDK, but also perhaps create my own assets for it. Because I already have a texture for my Dara, which is the base that I use for VRChat. But now, I just need to actually create a few things that I think would honestly be nice accessories to have for the event. But yeah, let's just get back to sketching this out. That's a little too thick. Another small reminder that even if you're not already entered, I currently have a follower raffle going on at bluesky.com, or bluesky.social. You can follow me there via the link in my card, which should be in the description of my channel. And from there, you can enter by following my account, reposting the raffle tweet, or post, and sharing a picture of your character reference, if you're interested. I'll be drawing a winner at the end of today's stream, so enter soon if you haven't. But even if you aren't decided for a winner, I also have commissions open on my Ko-fi right now. So you can check there to see if anything tickles your fancy. Yeah, making 3D assets is super daunting. Compared to 2D work, it's a lot more technically demanding, largely because of how many processes are needed in order to make 3D work function properly. Mocha, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Just doing a little sketch work right now. I guess a bit of practice. Haven't streamed in a while, so... getting my bearings again. It's so nice to see so many familiar faces joining today. Makes things feel nice and comfy. That means the secondary line of action goes here. But yeah, like, 3D is daunting because of how technically demanding it is compared to 2D work, but I'm sure it's just like learning any other skill. Once I get past the initial few hurdles and get a certain workflow down, it'll all just be a piece of cake. Rainbow, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Again, more familiar faces coming in to join in. It's really nice. I wonder if any of y'all recognize this still frame. Like, if any of you are even remotely aware of stuff that goes on in UFC or anything like that. Because when this kick happened, everyone lost their minds. Like, obviously I can't show the full clip on here because, you know, copyright. But if you know, you know. Might want to draw this arm on a different layer. Just for clarity's sake. Which means that this arm is going out. I've heard good things about Expedition 33. It seems like a fun game, but, you know, don't exactly have time or money for it at the moment. Priorities are kind of elsewhere. Besides, if you got a backlog like I do, you've got plenty of other games to get around to first, before you get to the new stuff. Like, I still gotta get through the Persona games. And I have all of them on my Vita right now. Same deal with Final Fantasies 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9. No, I'm not playing 8. Shut up. I think... But yeah. I kind of figured... So the... Sorry. I honestly think I might want to delve into a bit on why I just decided to say screw it and start streaming again. Well, aside from it being an idea I had for this week's FIF, which, if you aren't aware, it's Bucket Friday, but I wanted an excuse to sort of build a certain dialogue with you guys, in a sense. So that way I'm not some sort of faceless entity that just creates art, you know? Want to take up opportunities like this for y'all to delve or peek into a bit of my mind on certain things, or just see what goes into my process is all. Maybe share a few laughs and perhaps bounce out a few ideas. I'm sure that time will come in the future, though. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't kinda nervous, though. I'm always caught up on how much I stutter or not talk enough in moments where I'm trying to focus in on work. Always worried about coming off as too sterile or boring. But you know, I'm still gonna try and make do however I can. Slow and surely. Just gotta improve it as much as I can, like with any skill. Glaze, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. But I struggled with anxiety quite a bit. Not just as a creative, but in general. It can make things super daunting, because I'm either putting too much pressure on myself or I'm always prone to catastrophizing about certain situations. It can make things hard to start or hard to commit to, because I'm scared of how wrong things can go. Look away. But that never leads to anything good. You just end up paralyzed and unable to do anything. You end up unable to actually live, or experience something that could enrich your life. I honestly was the same way with illustration for a very long time. Not even necessarily because it was hard, but because I felt like it was something I could never quite be good at. Especially since it felt like something that I wasn't entirely encouraged by. Or encouraged to pursue, rather. So really, I didn't want to engage with something I perceived as an uphill battle. But ultimately, now that I do have this perspective on myself now, I was ultimately robbing myself of something that probably would have made my life a lot more fulfilling. And with 3D art, that may be more of that same mentality I'm falling back into. Old habits. Old anxieties that used to be there, that I thought I would have grown past. But you know, life's not exactly a linear path. It's never definitively upwards or downwards, you know? Thanks for the follow, clowns. I appreciate it. Was just discussing about how about my own personal struggles with anxieties and things like that. Like, people kind of meme about it a bit, strangely. About how a lot of indie devs, in particular, think about having their own anxieties and self-doubts all the time. Yeah, it's just my playlist, that's all. Okay, so this is a left arm. That means the thumb comes out. Imposter syndrome is a real pain. And it affects creatives of all walks. So it's reassuring to know that I'm not alone in that regard, but at the same time, I can't help but feel like my biggest enemy with creation is myself, and that is gonna make you feel a certain way, you know? And for me personally, it's like, there's a lot of stuff that I had to overcome with myself. Stuff that I'm still recovering from to this day. But I'm still managing. Taking things slow, one step at a time. Making sure things, if aren't back to normal, then at least in a healthier place. It's very hard. It's funny how paradoxically, people's best work usually comes from when they're the least afraid to put themselves into it. Zevia, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. I appreciate you a lot, Sevi. Glad to have you here. That's the thing about it. I've never seen myself as the best artist. I've just seen myself as a better artist, as where I used to be. And I always want to be better than where I was. And as long as I can keep improving, finding new ways to reinvent myself and my work, I think that's all I could really ask for. And genuinely, there's no shame in, like, not engaging with something that's causing you mental anguish. If it's something that... If you're engaging with a hobby that is causing you more stress than it's actually worth, then that's probably a net negative on your mental health. In fact, that's probably not just true of hobbies either. It's true of a lot of stuff. It's just that people are... or feel like they're forced into certain situations because of outside pressures like financial interest or support or stability or social stability. That does... So we're all kind of pressured to conform to certain systems or powers at play. Cool, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Like, when I was first starting out, you know, back into... Like, oh man, I don't know how comfortable I am sharing this on stream because of how old it is, but... Yeah, I'm drawing. But, like, as a point of reference, there is a drawing that I feel perfectly captures how much I have grown as a creative. And it's this. This drawing of Hisuian Zoroark I made all the way back in 2021, back when they were first revealed. It's not great, as you can tell. The proportions are all off, the shape language is not quite there. I wanted to try going for something cool with the snow texture. And the background isn't all that complicated either. Plus the shading isn't all that in-depth either. Yeah, the intent was definitely there. Because I was really excited about the design. Zoroark was already one of my favorite Pokemon, so seeing this updated version of them was in Pokemon Legends was actually really cool. And it's weird, because I rarely ever do fan art like this. But when I do, it probably is because it resonates with me personally. But that's beside the point. And so here's my most recent drawing for comparison. This is basically my Sona as a Hisuian Zoroark. It feels, and I feel it's much more realized compared to the original drawing. I did want to capture that energy that I was going for in the original, but I leaned a lot more into observing the proportions, the shape language with the hair, and also a lot more mindful of the shapes from the shading as well. Same deal with the line work, too, because the spots on their body aren't quite as flat anymore, and I really do appreciate that. Of course, I can't knock myself too much for this drawing here, because I was still drawing, or like learning how to draw. Because I was basically starting from zero like a year and a half prior. I had almost never actually drawn characters casually. It was almost exclusively landscapes in my notebook at school. But with practice, improvements has absolutely came. And even still, there's ways that I think I could actually make this better. Like actually improving the ambient occlusion, perhaps, or refining the line work a bit more by coloring it or making it actually blend in with the shadows, but can't be fretting about how much further I have to climb up the mountain. I can just appreciate how far I've come. And that matters a lot more than you think. Especially if you're improving at a skill. And when I think about stuff like this, I kind of think back to my time when I was still playing fighting games competitively. And just how much it caused me to burn out and get frustrated with not just the game, but mainly with myself. It caused them to not be fun like they used to be for me. Every time I played, I was always reminded about all of the ways I was coming up short and not performing to where I was supposed to. And that's not to say that the same doesn't happen here. It's just that now I'm able to go about those moments of my ego eating itself in a much healthier way. Largely because I'm able to go at my own pace and not feel like I have to be constantly keeping up with other people who are improving. And I think that helps. But then that really does hammer home that, in a sense, I'm my own worst enemy when it comes to improving at stuff. Because even in that moment right there where I was comparing those two drawings with each other, I was still harping on about how much more I have to improve. Maybe you can call that not being complacent or me being too hard on myself, but the way I see it, I feel like I haven't learned quite yet to appreciate those smaller moments of growth and those little victories I can have. Because, well, all of y'all have joined me today, and you aren't just joining me because of my own work. Y'all are joining me because y'all appreciate me as a person, as a personality, as a voice. And I really do appreciate y'all for that. I don't think the younger, more impulsive and defeatist mindset that I used to have would have been conducive to that. It's probably a mark of how much I've grown as a person. That is true. Improvements can be small and hard to notice, and that can make things difficult to perceive. But even small steps are steps. and that means more in the grand scheme of things than a lot of people give credit for. Okay, I think I have the gesture lined out pretty well. Now comes the next step. Refining it onto one of my characters. And I think I have a pretty solid idea of who I have in mind to draw. Now, where is he? Uh-oh. I don't think I have him saved on my desktop. Oh well. Shouldn't take too long to find a pic. Actually, you don't think I should draw the guy, also draw the guy getting his face absolutely rocked in this picture right here? Like, not even necessarily be fully detailed like an actual character, but just as a frame of reference. Yeah, it would be fun. It would be pretty funny, I think. Alright. Fuck it, we ball. This playlist is basically all the games that I played as a kid growing up. You got Pokemon Platinum, Mario Galaxy, Sonic Unleashed. All good chill vibes. I appreciate it. Well, I actually did also have the idea of maybe trying to do VR chat streams on Saturdays. Like me, especially during Somna. I got my new graphics card, which is a 9070, which means that my rig should be powerful enough to handle that. I think it would be pretty cool to actually go around Somna and actually share my experiences with y'all. Uh-oh. Oh, okay. The stream's not dead. It was just my browser preview that died. Oh well. If I goes here. I've actually been itching for a good while to actually draw fight scenes, or at least combat-oriented stuff. Because, you know, like I mentioned earlier, I used to play fighting games a lot. And I also grew up watching a lot of Battle Shonen. I felt like I wanted to convey that aspect more in my work. That's kind of the theme for today, honestly. Or, like, not just today, but my ethos on the whole for my work. Getting less afraid to put myself into my work. Because, you know, Shocker, it can actually be very easy to get afraid of yourself. Or maybe not even yourself, it's just your own shadow. Like getting all caught up in the what-ifs. All the potential ways that something can go wrong, or make you look bad. Here's a novel concept. What if it goes good? What if things actually work out? What if it is worth it? What will all the catastrophizing be for then? Just energy spent on nothing. It was mostly melee, but I also played a good bit of Dragon Ball FighterZ, Exerd, and Third Strike. I wish I played more Project M and BlazBlue, though. Those games probably would have been a lot of fun. Especially PM, like... But none of those games are easy to get good at all. So... I really do think I was setting myself up for failure by putting that pressure on myself. I have actually been itching to get back into fighting games a bit more lately, but I'm not exactly sure with what game or how I would actually go about it, because, well, I don't know how many of y'all are keeping up with the state of fighting games, but it feels like the whole fighting game community is on fire. For various different reasons. Like, they're... Yeah, that's true, Mocha.